Hello everyone and welcome to the Center of the Universe, a special preview edition as we look ahead to some of the big matches coming your way on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. The road to WrestleMania will officially begin this weekend, and we are here to talk through some of the big matches that are on their way, including the world title matches, and of course, the two big Royal Rumbles, including the historic first ever Women's Royal Rumble match. And speaking of the Women's Rumble, that is how we're going to start our preview here this evening, with that very match indeed, as it will kick off this year's Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And what an opportunity it is going to be. The women of this company will get to make history, as was announced at the year-end awards by CEO of the WWE Vincent Kennedy McMahon. There would be the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match. 30 women, one ring, one opportunity, all vying for the same prize, a shot at WrestleMania at either the Raw or SmackDown Women's Champion. While we have been kept rather out of the dark in terms of who will be going to this matchup, one thing is for certain: we do know at least some of the names, and one of them has been a runaway favorite for some time. That, of course, being Trifecta's Rhea Ripley. That being said, there are a number of other women in that matchup, including fellow Trifecta member Jazzy Gabert, SmackDown's Sasha Banks, the Queen Charlotte Flair, and who knows who else may make themselves a dark horse candidate, may make a big upset, or, as will well likely be the case with this event, a surprise entrant could make their name apparent and could find themselves going from unknown in the Rumble to WrestleMania. The reality is, when the numbers are added up between Raw's women's division and SmackDown's women's division, there are not enough to fill 30. That means we're in for some surprises. Could one of those surprises go to WrestleMania? Could Raw, SmackDown find the edge over one another and bring the opportunity to that brand? Or will the favorite prevail? And could Rhea Ripley be on with a meeting with what we have to assume would be the SmackDown Women's Champion? Time will tell when we kick things off at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view with the Women's Royal Rumble match. Of course, despite its importance, the Royal Rumble is not all about the match that gives its namesake to the pay-per-view. There are, of course, a number of title matches that we should be looking forward to, and in this rundown, we will be looking at the world title matches, beginning with the World Heavyweight Championship match, which will see challengers Andrade Cien Almas and Hiroshi Tanahashi vie to take the World Heavyweight Championship away from the longest reigning World Heavyweight Champion in universe history, Roman Reigns. While most of this rivalry has been built up surrounding Andrade and Hiroshi Tanahashi, the reality is simple. Roman Reigns is the target for both of them. Only one of them can leave with the title. And if Roman Reigns finds himself in an unfortunate turn of events, it may not be him, and he may not be even involved in the final decision. Andrade and Tanahashi, of course, have had a storied history over the last few weeks, having met at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, with Andrade barely squeezing out a win over the Ace courtesy of a roll-up pin. Sting would go on the next night on Raw to name him the number one contender to the World Heavyweight Championship, but Hiroshi Tanahashi believed that he had to beat the Ace decisively and convincingly to earn that opportunity. Likewise, if Tanahashi was able to defeat Andrade, he believed he was due an opportunity in the title match. The Raw General Manager Sting agreed, and as we saw 2 weeks ago on Raw, the two men went to war in the main event, with Hiroshi Tanahashi prevailing, rolling up Andrade. Roman Reigns made his impact immediately felt, assaulting both men after the bell, laying out Hiroshi Tanahashi with a Superman punch, and Andrade with a spear. It all came to a head this past Monday on Raw, with a big three-way fight, which saw Andrade hitting Hiroshi Tanahashi with a hammerlock DDT as Roman Reigns stood watching on the ramp. Whatever happens this Sunday, the reality is the blood has been spilled, the rivalries have been sown in for some time, and some old rivalries will emerge, especially in the case of Reigns and Tanahashi. Can Roman Reigns continue on his iconic World Heavyweight Championship reign and continue breaking records on the red brand? Could we see the rise of El Idolo, making his claim as the new ace of Monday Night Raw more than apparent, but a fact? Or can Hiroshi Tanahashi prove that age is just a number, and can the once-in-a-century talent regain the World Heavyweight Championship for a second time? This is a match where it could go any way, folks, and it is one you won't want to miss. From a match built up on in-ring talent to a match built up on mind games. Next up, we will focus on the WWE Championship match between the Switchblade Jay White and the Blackheart Tommaso Ciampa. Jay White would shock the world at tables, ladders, and chairs, throwing Kazuchika Okada off the top of a ladder in their TLC match with Tommaso Ciampa for the WWE Championship, costing Okada the shot to regain the WWE title, handing victory to Tommaso Ciampa. While Jay White would explain his actions, believing that it was his time on SmackDown and he would run through anyone, Tommaso Ciampa didn't see it the same way, and the mind games were played right from the start. Jay White demanding Tommaso Ciampa to accept a WWE Championship opportunity. But first, the Blackheart stayed silent. Then when he laid him out in the ring, he let him know that he wasn't accepting his challenge, but that he would be teaching him a lesson, and the title would be on the line at the Rumble. Of course, the most iconic moment between these two men came 2 weeks ago on SmackDown, when Jay White viciously, heinously assaulted the close friend of the WWE Champion in Mojo Rawley in his attempts to bring out Tommaso Ciampa, that failed until it was all too late when a concerto was wrapped around Mojo's head. Tommaso Ciampa, of course, would run out, but the damage was done, and then it was done to Ciampa, who was laid out with a Blade Runner onto Goldie itself. As we saw this past week on SmackDown, the mind games continue to play, with Tommaso Ciampa getting the one-upsmanship, laying out the Switchblade, with ProJaked Ciampa informing Jay White that you never trust a Blackheart. While neither of these two men are in the love or the adoration of the crowd that will be attending at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, the reality is simple. The mind games have got us here. Now it's the physical attributes of these two men that will make the deciding factor. Who will it be? Who will prevail? Who will leave as the WWE Champion? The Switchblade or the Blackheart? Whoever it is, you better believe that they're going to fight for it in a mental and physical war this Sunday. And of course, if we're going to talk wars, then there has been no war recently that has been greater than that of ECW against Los Ingobernables de Japón. And one chapter of it, maybe the whole story, will be finalized this Sunday, when Johnny Gargano faces Tetsuya Naito in a steel cage match for the ECW Championship. This has been a storied, well-documented, well-maintained hatred between ECW and LIJ, and more importantly in this regard, Johnny Gargano and Tetsuya Naito. Gargano, of course, the man to dethrone Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, and then almost immediately it felt was dethroned by Naito. Naito and his cronies have made it their objective to burn ECW to the ground, and they want to do so by taking out the heart and soul this Sunday. While Gargano was able to secure the match type courtesy of a Seth Rollins victory over Sanada, the same could not be said for an additional stipulation added on top. So while the match may well be a steel cage match, thanks to the decision made by Seth Rollins following the recent stunts by Tetsuya Naito that include the run in the Survivor Series and the last-minute arrival to the Fatal 4-Way match at Anarchy Rules, and of course making sure that Los Ingobernables members stay out of the steel cage match itself, the reality is that this is now do or die for Johnny Wrestling, as Tetsuya Naito declared following a heavily controversial victory for Hiromu Takahashi on the same evening. If Johnny Gargano loses to Naito this Sunday, he cannot challenge for the ECW Championship for the rest of the year. A true last chance saloon presents itself for Johnny Gargano, and a do-or-die mentality exists within ECW in its hopes and aspirations of reclaiming the title that makes the brand as proud as it is. When that steel cage comes down, there will be no escaping. Only pinfalls or submissions will determine the winner this Sunday. And when that cage goes down, blood will spill, and a victor will earn all the spoils. At this point, there is only one question that remains. Will it be Johnny Gargano or Tetsuya Naito holding the ECW Championship above their head when the cage rises and their opponent is beaten? And then, of course, we come to the creme de la creme. That is the men's Royal Rumble match, the main event of the evening, when we arrive in Houston, Texas at Minute Maid Park for the start of the road to WrestleMania. An ever iconic match will etch another edition into its history books. And what a pool of talent. Make no doubt about it, we will be seeing world champions galore from all three brands, as everyone vies in the most stacked Royal Rumble yet to headline the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. And of course, while everyone may have those accolades, while everyone may have those honors, there is one man who is looking to add to an unopposed list of accomplishments. That is the man center stage in this Royal Rumble. That is the man who will start it all from number one. That is the greatest of all time, Seth Rollins. Rollins declared on his return that he wanted to main event WrestleMania once again, that he wanted to vie for the ECW Championship in a dream scenario against Johnny Gargano in a SummerSlam rematch. However, he said that he wasn't just going to win it. He wasn't just going to walk into the Royal Rumble, eliminate those that he had to, and win. He said that if he was going to do it, he would do it from number one. Seth Rollins has put his back rightly up against a firm wall, but if there is anyone who could survive from number one, if there is anyone that could bring a second victory to that number, it would be the GOAT. However, he is in for an incredibly stacked pool, with talent such as Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, John Cena, Randy Orton, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, and last year's Royal Rumble winner, Adam Cole. And remember, we only know SmackDown's and ECW's talent pool. We do not know anyone that will be representing Monday Night Raw, as Sting has chosen to keep his cards mighty close to his chest. What I can reveal, though, in a last-minute decision made by Monday Night Raw and ECW, is that there will be some opportunities for some surprise entrances. ECW has elected to take 9 entrants into the Royal Rumble, while Monday Night Raw has only elected to take 8, with SmackDown taking 10. That leaves 27 of the 30, 100% going to be confirmed from Raw, SmackDown, and ECW. Those final 3 slots, though, well, you'll just have to wait and see who and what they go to. Either way, this is the most stacked Royal Rumble on card we have ever seen, and if all accounts are to go by, it should well be the best. Not just for a Royal Rumble match, but for a pay-per-view as a whole, where there are high stakes on the line throughout the show and the pre-show as well. Trust me when I say you do not want to miss a minute of this year's Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And on top of that, if you already want access to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, well, you can click that join button, spend just $2 a month, and right now, you will gain access to the entire Royal Rumble pay-per-view at the very least 48 hours before it goes out to anyone else. Just $2 a month. And not only will you get the Royal Rumble, of course, you will get every Raw, SmackDown, ECW, and Center of the Universe earlier than everyone else, and of course, my undying love and gratitude, whatever that equates for. Either way, folks, we are in for a massive weekend. The road to WrestleMania can finally begin. The When Rumble meme can finally end, because this weekend, the Royal Rumble is on its way from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, and with it, the road to WrestleMania will officially begin. See you then, folks. Do not miss it when we get underway with the pre-show and the main show on Sunday. See you then, folks. Take care, everyone, and ta-ra.